welcome to the deep dive.
It's great to be here, ready to tackle another big topic.
Absolutely. And today, it's something, well, fundamentally human, isn't it? Happens every single night to all of us yet. It's still one of life's biggest mysteries. Dreams.
It really is. You think about it, a third of our lives spent asleep, visiting these strange, sometimes wonderful, sometimes terrifying landscapes in our heads. What is going on?
Exactly. And our guide for this exploration, our source material, is this fascinating field guide to dreams. It's really aimed at helping us start to identify and maybe interpret the symbols in those visions.
Yeah, think of it less like a strict dictionary, this equals that, and more like, well, a field guide, offering clues, pointing things out about the images in your dreams.
That's a great way to put it. So our mission today is to use this guide, look at what science actually knows, and, maybe even more interestingly, what it doesn't know about why we dream.
That fundamental question.
Right. And we'll touch on the long history of humans trying to figure dreams out, dive into the big theories from people like Freud and Jung, and then unpack some common dream symbols using the guide's insights.
The goal really is to give you, listening, some tools to maybe start understanding your own unique dream language.
Yeah, expect some surprising facts, bit of history, psychology, and hopefully some aha moments about your own inner world.
Okay, so the big question first. Why do we even dream? What does science actually say?
Well, the short answer from the researchers, pulling straight from the guide, is that nobody really knows for sure.
Still, after all this research...
It's still one of the big unanswered questions in neuroscience, apparently.
Okay, so if science can't definitively say why, what do we know about the mechanics? How does dreaming work?
We know some things, like adults dream on and off for about an hour and a half every night.
An hour and a half? That's quite a bit.
Adds up, yeah. And most of the really vivid dreaming, the stuff we remember, happens during stage 1 sleep, better known as REM sleep.
REM, rapid eye movement.
That's the one. The eyes darting around under the lids.
Right. And during REM, it's not just the eyes. Your pulse, blood pressure, breathing, they all fluctuate. And interestingly, your brain activity looks a lot like it does when you're awake.
But you're not moving.
Right.
Mostly paralyzed.
Pretty much. Your major muscles are shut down, which is probably a good thing. Keeps you from, acting out that fight scene or flight scene.
Definitely a good thing.
But that's the paradox. This incredibly active brain state happens during what's technically the lightest stage of sleep, not the deepest.
That seems backwards, doesn't it? You'd think the hardest brain work would be deep rest.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
But stage 1 REM is where the action is, dream-wise. And you know why we often remember dreams right before waking?
Why is that?
Because those REM stages get longer and closer together towards the morning, so you're just more likely to pop out of sleep right in the middle of one.
Ah, okay, that makes sense for those vivid morning dreams. And is it just us humans?
Nope, the guide points out we're definitely not alone. Most mammals show REM sleep, possibly even some birds.
So my dog twitching on the sofa.
Could very well be chasing squirrels in dreamland.
Yeah. This mysterious state is pretty widespread, even if we don't fully grasp its purpose.
And this quest to understand, it's not new, is it? Humans have been puzzling over dreams forever.
Oh, absolutely. Since the dawn of recorded history, really. Long before we had EEGs and sleep labs.
So what were the ancient takes? Messages from gods.
That was a big one, yeah. Messages from gods, premonitions of the future. Or sometimes more mundanely, maybe just a sign you ate something weird.
Ah, the spicy food dream. I know that one.
The guy actually has some great examples, like this ancient Greek guy, Artemidorus. He wrote a whole book, the Oneirocritica, just on dream interpretation, a professional dream analyst thousands of years ago.
That's amazing. And there was an Egyptian one, too.
Yes, the Chester Beatty Papyrus. And some interpretations were pretty stark, like dreaming of losing your teeth meant someone in your family was going to be murdered. Whoa. Okay, much heavier than indigestion. Did Artemidorus have specifics like that?
He did. Like, flying meant prosperity or freedom. Losing teeth could mean losing power or possessions. But here's the interesting part. Context mattered even then. For a slave, dreaming of losing teeth meant gaining freedom.
Ah, so the symbol wasn't fixed. It depended on who you were. That feels important.
Crucial. And that's a theme the guide really hits on for modern analysis, too. It also brings in other cultural bits, like how ancient Roman public toilets were basically social hubs.
Seriously?
Yeah, totally different view of public bodily functions, which might, relate to how we interpret certain dreams today versus back then.
Never would have connected those dots.
Or cars. In America, often just a necessity. Elsewhere, a huge status symbol. So dreaming your car breaks down could have very different emotional weight depending on your culture.
Right, our daily reality shapes the symbols.
And the ocean, the guide, links its scientific mystery, the sheer depth of the Marianas Trench compared to Everest, the limits of diving to how water symbolizes the deep unconscious in dreams, the great unknown inside and out.
That's a powerful parallel.
And you see these themes echo in myths and fairy tales. Hansel and Gretel, Little Red Riding Hood, Oedipus, the Minotaur, Prometheus. These stories stick around because they tap into something deep, maybe archetypal.
Like the building blocks of stories and dreams are related.
Very much so. The guide even connects things like Chinese foot binding controlling mobility, power to dreams about feet or paralysis, or firewalking, that mind over matter practice to fire dreams.
Mind over matter, that feels very dreamlike, bending reality.
Doesn't it? And some ancient cultures believed the dream self literally traveled out of body for wisdom. That gives flying dreams a whole different spin, doesn't it?
A spiritual journey, not just a dream.
For them, yes. And the Babylonians thought the heart was for intellect, the liver for passion. Totally different from our brain-centric view, but shows how culture shapes even our perceived inner landscape.
It really hammers home how interpretation is filtered.
Yeah, the source touches on so much loneliness, no man is an island, views on infidelity, nudity, Native American spider myths, and dream catchers.
Dream catchers and spider myths. Connects to insect dreams, maybe.
Possibly, yeah. Even things like how the kitchen's place in the home changed, or rivers as journey symbols like Huck Finn, or weapons as phallic symbols throughout history. It all adds layers to potential dream meanings.
It's clear dreams pull from personal life, culture, history. A real mix. So how did modern psychology start to grapple with this?
Well, you really have to start with the two big names, Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung.
Right, the pioneers. Let's start with Freud, psychoanalysis.
Freud famously called dreams the royal road to the unconscious. For him, it was primarily about wish fulfillment, often repressed wishes, things we don't consciously admit we want.
So the dream grants the wish, but maybe in disguise.
Exactly. He thought the unconscious mind used techniques to hide the true meaning, like condensation jamming multiple ideas into one symbol, and displacement shifting strong feelings onto something less threatening.
Like a mental sensor?
Pretty much, yeah. And analyzing dreams was key for him to diagnose neuroses, to find the root of those hidden conflicts. And of course, Freud heavily emphasized the sexual instinct, the libido, as a core driver.
That sexual focus is definitely what he's known for.
It is. He wasn't big on dreams being for problem solving or anything positive like that. It was about revealing the past, the conflicts.
Okay, so what about specific Freudian takes from the guide?
Well, the source says he often saw rooms as representing women, especially if entrances and exits were involved, staircases. For Freud, that often symbolized the sexual act.
Okay.
And vermin or insects. He sometimes linked those to pregnancy.
Insects is pregnancy. That feels like displacement in action.
Yeah, shifting something complex onto maybe an unsettling image. Spiders could be a devouring mother figure. Falling dreams, especially for women, might link to anxieties about losing virginity or fertility.
Very focused on those core themes of his.
Definitely. Dreams about police or prison. He might link that to guilt, maybe a subconscious wish for punishment. The source mentions an example of a man's guilt over an affair leading to those kinds of dreams.
He connected a lot back to guilt and sexuality. And reversals. What was that?
Yes. Freud suggested sometimes a dream means the opposite of what it shows. Like, dreaming your partner is cheating could actually represent your own hidden desire to cheat.
Okay, that's Freud in a nutshell. Very dense. What about Jung? He started with Freud but went his own way.
Massively different direction eventually. Jung introduced the collective unconscious, this idea that beneath our personal unconscious there's this deeper layer shared by all humans, full of inherited patterns, universal symbols.
Like a shared human memory bank.
Sort of, yeah. Expressed through archetypes. These fundamental patterns, the hero, the mother, the shadow, the wise old man, appear in myths, religions, and dreams everywhere.
Okay, so archetypes are these universal characters or themes.
Exactly. And for Jung, dreams were crucial for connecting with this collective unconscious, but also for individuation.
Individuation.
His term for becoming a whole, integrated person, recognizing and bringing together all the different parts of yourself, conscious and unconscious. Dreams weren't just digging up the past, they were actively helping you grow, become whole.
So a much more positive, forward-looking role for dreams.
Definitely. He thought dreams compensate for imbalances in waking life. If you're too logical, maybe your dreams get wildly emotional. If you suppress anger, you might dream of violence. They try to balance you out.
Makes sense. How did Jung interpret some of those symbols we discussed, like houses?
For Jung, the house wasn't usually about a person, it was the metaphor for the self, your whole psyche. The mansion of the soul, he called it. Exploring a house in a dream was exploring yourself.
That feels much bigger than Freud's take.
It is. He agreed with Freud that the basement often represents the unconscious. But animals or monsters? For Jung, they could be the shadow archetype, the parts of yourself you don't like or accept, or other unconscious mysteries surfacing.
Facing your dark side, or maybe hidden strengths.
Could be either or both. Transportation cars, trains, stairs, elevators represented how your psychological life is moving, your journey towards that wholeness, individuation, maybe higher consciousness.
So climbing stairs isn't just sex, it could be spiritual growth.
For Jung, yes. Flying specifically meant achieving higher consciousness or freedom. Finding buried treasure was about discovering hidden potential within the self.
Much more focused on growth and potential.
Very much so. Water was huge for Jung feminine energy, the anima, the mystery of the unconscious. Big bodies of water symbolize the collective unconscious. Sex dreams can be about integrating inner opposites, like the anima and animus, the inner feminine and masculine, rather than just literal desire.
Inner union.
Exactly. Teeth falling out. Freud didn't focus on it, but Jung often linked it to anxiety about losing power or vitality with age.
There's that power connection again.
Yeah.
And chase dreams.
Jung thought they could be echoes from the collective unconscious primitive humans being hunted, or, more symbolically, you're running from a part of yourself, maybe that shadow again. But the struggle itself, your resistance in the dream, showed Jung you wanted to deal with the issue in waking life.
So the fear shows the desire to confront.
Wow, really different lenses. Freud on past conflict and sex, Jung on integration archetypes and the future self. Okay, so with all that theory, how can someone listening actually start making sense of their own dreams? The field guide has some practical advice, right?
It does, yeah. It really encourages you to become your own interpreter. The first step is recognizing you have your own unique dream language.
Learn your language. The guide says your unconscious uses metaphors, symbols, even puns that are personal to you. It takes patience to decode.
It's like your mind sending you coded messages tailored just for you. And this seems really important. The guide says, don't judge yourself for what you dream. Dreams tackle heavy stuff. Death, sex, violence. Dreaming it doesn't make you that thing. The intensity of the image often just reflects intense emotions.
That's huge for people who get freaked out by nightmares. It's symbolic, not literal.
Then know the right questions. Treat the dream like a weird little story. When you wake up, grab the details. Where was it set? Who was there? What happened? Any strong smells, sounds, colors? How does it feel? And note if it's like other dreams you've had.
Write it down fast before it evaporates.
Exactly, and personalize the analysis. The book's ideas, Freud's, Jung's, their starting points, not the final answer for your dream, your life, your history, your feelings right now. That's the key.
Right. The absolute most important question the guide suggests asking is, does this dream scenario connect to something I'm going through in my waking life right now, and how?
That link to the present is crucial.
It's not just what do spiders mean, it's what does this spider in this dream feel like to me, considering what happened at work yesterday.
The guide also mentions lucid dreaming.
Yeah, this is fascinating. It's a skill you can learn, apparently, where you become aware you're dreaming while you're dreaming. Some people can even control things a bit.
You know it's a dream as it happens.
Exactly. And the guide suggests this can be really helpful emotionally, like in that recurring chase dream. If you become lucid, you could try to stop, turn around, and ask the thing chasing you, hey, why are you after me?
Confront the monster.
Yeah. The answer, or just the act of confronting it, might give you insight and could even make the dream stop coming back.
Taking control within the dream. That's a powerful idea.
So let's maybe take a few common dream symbols from the guide and see how these different ideas play out.
Great idea. Let's start with a really common, often disturbing one, teeth falling out.
Ugh, yes. So many people have this one. It's primal.
Usually feels like teeth are loose, crumbling, falling into your hand. Maybe you're embarrassed.
The guide generally links this to anxiety. Anxiety about appearance, about getting older, about how you communicate, or just feeling powerless. Losing a body part can symbolize loss, or maybe neglecting some part of yourself. Embarrassment often points to fear of being exposed.
And if it keeps happening, it's like your unconscious is really trying to flag those anxieties.
Definitely waving a red flag. Now, Looking at the big theories from the source, it notes Freud didn't actually write much directly about teeth dreams.
Oh, okay. So what about Jung,
Jung connected it more to anxiety about losing power and vitality, specifically as you age, that feeling of things declining.
which fits with the powerlessness and appearance anxiety themes?
It does, and culturally. The guide points back to those ancient texts, the Egyptian papyrus, the Talmud linking it to death or murder in the family. And remember Artemidorus, the Greek. He saw teeth as social standing. Losing them meant losing power or stuff, unless you were a slave. Then it meant freedom.
So across time, there's this thread of loss, vulnerability, power shifts tied to teeth.
Absolutely. Okay, next classic. Being chased.
Another anxiety favorite. You're running from something scary, an animal, a monster, a shadow figure, maybe someone you know. You feel helpless, can't run fast enough, wake up heart pounding.
The guide suggests this usually mirrors running from something in waking life, a problem, a fear, a tough situation. The key questions are, what's chasing you? What does it want? Does it remind you of anything or anyone specific you're avoiding?
Trying to name the fear.
Exactly. And if it's recurrent, which chase dreams often are, the guide really pushes that lucid dreaming idea stop, turn, confront, ask why. The answer or lack thereof can be incredibly revealing and might stop the loop.
Flipping the script from victim to active participant.
Yes. Now, Freud's take, according to the source, often interpreted through that sexual lens. Maybe the dreamer is running but secretly wants to be caught. He even noted the wordplay, chased versus chased.
There's that Freudian focus again.
Jung typically had a different angle. Could be an echo from the collective unconscious ancient humans being hunted. Or, symbolically, you're fleeing a part of yourself, maybe the shadow, something you find uncomfortable. But for Jung, the very effort you put into escaping in the dream shows your waking motivation to actually deal with whatever it is you're running from.
So the struggle signifies the drive to resolve it. Interesting. Very different reads on that panic.
The guide also notes how effectively chase scenes are used in films, like The Night of the Hunter, tapping into that nightmare logic. Okay, how about house dreams? So common and personal.
They really are. Exploring a house, familiar or strange, going in the basement, finding secret rooms, your childhood home, hallways.
The guide really emphasizes the house as a metaphor for the self, echoing your whole personality structure. Different rooms are different aspects of you or your life.
Your psyche's floor plan.
Kind of, yeah. The basement. The foundation, where stuff gets stored, may be forgotten. It often represents the base level of the unconscious, maybe uncomfortable stuff filed away. Analyst Gillian Holloway calls it a psychological space for unprocessed things. Being scared to go down there might mean reluctance to face your own unconscious depths.
Fear of what's buried down there.
Right. Finding secret rooms could suggest untapped potential hidden talents. But if the room feels locked or creepy, maybe it's fear of discovering something unsettling within yourself. Unused rooms might symbolize neglected parts of your personality or relationships, or again, potential waiting to be rediscovered.
Rooms waiting for attention.
Corridors and hallways are often about transitions, life paths. Doors are choices. A long, doorless hallway might mean feeling stuck on one path. Twisty hallways could mean confusion about which way to go.
Navigating life's choices. What about the childhood home showing up?
That often brings up feelings about parents and that whole era. The guide suggests dreaming of it now means your mind is connecting those past feelings or patterns to a current situation. Maybe looking for insight for a new role, like parenting, or maybe trying to break an old, unhelpful pattern rooted back then.
Using the blueprint of the past for the present. Let's check in with Freud and Jung again.
Okay, Freud, as we said, often saw rooms as women, focused on entrance exits. Basements fit his idea of the dark unconscious. Staircases, specifically, symbolize the sex act for him. And childhood material was key to finding those repressed wishes.
So less the whole self, more specific symbols and origins for Freud.
Yeah. Jung, again, saw the house as the self, the mansion of the soul. Exploring it was self-exploration. He agreed on the basement as unconscious, but stairs, corridors, moving up in a house. That was the quest for individuation, spiritual growth, higher consciousness. The childhood home was about returning to those origins, the father and mother, to understand the self's history.
Growth in spirit versus sex in the past. Big difference.
Huge. The guide also mentions cultural bits like mazes versus labyrinths, the psycho basement, Proust's Madeline triggering childhood home memories, all echoing how houses hold memory and meaning, and even the historical separation of kitchens adds context.
So many potential layers in just a house. Okay, next. Water, ocean, drowning.
Ah, water. Hugely powerful universal symbol.
Manifestations like being near water, on a beach, in the ocean, fighting waves, drowning, or sometimes that weird thing of breathing underwater.
The guide links water strongly to emotion, often deep, maybe hidden emotions, and the unconscious itself. Think of amniotic fluid, our first environment. The state of the water is key. Calm, stormy, murky. That often reflects your emotional state. Drowning or fighting waves is a pretty direct metaphor for feeling overwhelmed by emotion or a situation.
Feeling like you're going under, literally.
Beaches are interesting transition zones. Land, known, conscious, meets ocean, unknown, unconscious. So they can symbolize that edge, that tension or connection. A calm ocean might mean openness to exploring your depths. Rough waves, fear.
The shoreline between two worlds.
Drowning dreams, with that panic, often reflect waking feelings of powerlessness. But that strange variation, breathing underwater after you stop struggling, the guide suggests that can mean acceptance, finding peace, or a new way of coping emerges when you stop fighting so hard.
A surprisingly hopeful twist on a nightmare.
Often happens during stressful times, adolescence, big changes. For Jung, water was feminine energy, the unconscious mystery. Big waters, like oceans, were archetypal symbols of the collective unconscious. Rivers could symbolize the flow of individuation.
So personal emotion, collective depths, life journey, all in water.
And the cultural side reinforces it. The ocean as the great unknown, scientifically and metaphorically. Fear of drowning, tapping into feelings of insignificance. Water's fundamental necessity for life.
Life-giving and overwhelming. Okay, one more symbol. Public nudity.
Right, the anxiety classic.
You're naked or partly dressed, somewhere public, work, school, a party. You feel horribly exposed, trying to hide, but yeah, often nobody else seems to notice.
The guide says this almost always points to feeling vulnerable, exposed, maybe inadequate in a new role or situation, a promotion, relationship, anything where you feel on show and unprepared.
Imposter syndrome dream.
Could be, yeah. That detail about others not noticing is key. It often suggests the insecurity is internal. You feel exposed, but others might not see you that way at all. Dreaming of getting a new wardrobe might symbolize developing new skills or coping mechanisms. Feeling okay about being naked could mean embracing authenticity or shedding an old role. If people are shocked, maybe you fear you've overshared or broken a social rule in waking life.
So it reflects your internal sense of exposure.
Usually, yes. Common during adolescence, big life changes, times of low confidence.
And the psychologists.
Freud, according to the source, linked it back to infantile desires, wanting to exhibit the body without shame, breaking taboos, repressed exhibitionism, maybe.
Back to childhood rules for Freud.
Jung saw clothing as the persona, the social mask. Being naked meant showing more of your true, authentic self than usual. It was about the gap between your inner reality and your outer presentation.
The real you versus the public you. Integration again for you.
And culturally, the guide touches on everything from historical norms about bareness, Lady Godiva, even modern censorship, and how deeply cultural views of the body impact us, and thus our dreams about exposure.
Clearly a symbol loaded with personal and cultural baggage about being seen.
And one last really crucial point from the guide Recurring Dreams. If the same theme, the same scenario, keeps popping up,
Your unconscious is really trying to get your attention.
it's basically shouting, yeah, these are important signals. The source gives examples. A recurring car crash dream. Maybe a sign to take control before things go off the rails in your life.
A warning.
Recurring dream of losing a child. Could be your unconscious pointing to a neglected goal, a part of yourself you've abandoned, a lost desire.
Something important being overlooked.
The recurring chase dream. That's the prime candidate for trying that lucid dreaming confrontation. Find out what you're running from.
Taking action within the dream.
And recurring prison or police dreams. Unless you actually work in law enforcement, the guide suggests it often points to deep guilt or feeling trapped, controlled by something or someone.
Feeling judged or confined.
The point is, recurring dreams aren't just glitches. They're highlighting something your psyche really needs you to look at and work through.
So as we kind of pull all this together, the big takeaway seems to be that dream interpretation is incredibly personal, isn't it? Even with all these frameworks from science, history, Freud, Jung.
Absolutely. The universal symbols, the theories, they're powerful tools, great starting points. But the real meaning, it comes from you. How you felt in the dream, what your associations are, and crucially, how it connects to what's happening in your life right now.
Your life is the context key.
Yeah.
So use the tips, keep that journal, capture the details and feelings, ask how it relates to your waking life, and just be patient with yourself as you learn your own dream language.
Exactly. Your dreams are speaking your language. It's a dialogue with your deepest self.
We've covered a lot of ground today, journeying into this mysterious world. From the brain science of REM sleep and that lingering question of why we dream to ancient beliefs about divine messages.
Through the really contrasting, dense theories of Freud and Jung, and landing on some practical ways you can start to decode your own nightly narratives.
It seems clear dreams aren't just random noise. They're this complex, symbolic, pretty powerful form of communication from your unconscious.
They really are.
So maybe the next time you wake up from a dream, whether it was bizarre, scary, wonderful, whatever, instead of just shaking it off, maybe pause. Consider this. What if that strange scenario, that unsettling feeling, that amazing flight, what if it's actually a message? A part of you trying to be seen, understood, integrated? What might your unconscious truly be trying to tell you?